Who is the boss? Who is the biggest? Greetings, chromatic warriors! Today we answer the age-old question. Who's the boss? Well, if you watched the last 20 seconds of the video, who's biggest? But life is not so simple. In Orcish culture, there are many ways to make oneself larger. Perhaps an arrangement of squigs, possibly a very tall hat, or maybe even a proper boss pole. So in the last video, I built up this banner using Yupo paper, a new, very, new to me, but it's a very handy material. It's paper with a very thin coating of plastic, so I find it to be a little bit more malleable than plastic card. But anyways, I decided, as we've seen how the old school orcs is colorized and how banners is built, it seems only right that we's see how a banner is painted. A proper banner fit for a boss. Okay, to begin, I want to set up the backstop. I have some diluted Sunburst ochre, and I'm going to create a checker pattern. The only kind of chaos factor here is that the flag is not a perfect square. It tapers slightly, so my checker pattern will have to do the same. It's easy, just draw straight lines. You can see how I'm holding the brush at a slight angle and leading the line along. It's not going to be perfect, but just consider this a sort of light graphite sketch. Okay, uncovering your tracks. Every wily artist can see the mistakes in their own work. I've got a few, this one line ran amok, so I will definitely start my checkerboard there, or at least locate it around this checker being darker. So, pure Sunburst ochre for the lower two rows of checkers. It'll take a little bit to get that layered up to a nice pureness. And for the upper squares, Moonbeam yellow mixed with Sunburst ochre. Just want to match the gradient. It's a little lighter up here, so I've mixed a lighter tone for my checkerboard. With the checkerboard in place, just some quick cleanup work. I will be throwing that moon design on top of this, so I'm not going to worry about it too much, but yeah, just going through, quickly sharpening up the edges, just mixing and matching ever so slightly. A little bit of white plus some Moonbeam yellow in this upper area. Nice and sharp. It'll take a little while to work this up, but it is the boss after all. I'll take my time and do it proper. Okay, next a bold step must be made. I'm going to take this Imperial Navy and just draw a little toenail clipping over my careful work. What could possibly go wrong? Starting off very simple, I'm going to break this face into basic shapes. So first of all, a moon. Okay, now this is not a perfectly pointy tip. Let me just drag that out a little bit. I want to work from dark to light so it gives me an outline as I'm working. You know, if I contain all of the lighter colors inside of this dark outline, it will look like a nice orky drawing. Now this is a good start, but after looking at it from a bit of a distance, I can widen the moon. I want to make it a little fatter so I can fit those facial features, and just by widening it over to the model's left, otherwise it would start to look pushed too far to the right. So you always want to start with kind of a smaller interior shape in a sense, and then you can grow the shape in whichever direction you need it to go. Another part I want to start setting up is that protruding nose. I always have the tendency whenever I've drawn the bad moon symbol multiple times, if you can believe that, over the years. But I have a tendency, I think, to locate the facial features a little too high up in the crescent. You want it kind of sitting back in a sense, kind of rocking down, sitting in the lower half. And just thicken this curve ever so slightly. Let's draw out the kind of upper lip area, and then another bump where the lower lip will be sticking out. All right. Next, I'm going to come in with some royal blue and start producing a little bit of dimension. Some key areas, some larger features that I want to raise up, mainly that upper brow. Pick out the nostril, just drawing little blobs of paint, just like how we were drawing the moon. Kind of rounded triangular shape for the cheek. Just outline the mouth with a nice curvy wide blue lip. Generally, like I'm raising the overall value of the moon as well. It's this kind of upper area. I don't need to dive into facial features right away. Just wanted to hit the majors with this first step. Before I get too far into the blue progression on the facial features, I want to take care of these teeth. Be able to clean up my work with some of the blue if anything gets messy. So first I'll fill in that gap that I left. Then let's pull a nice orky tusk out of the side of the mouth. Just like so. Then on top of that with leather brown, just want to redraw the tooth. Try to get some, I don't know if there'll be space, I'll just drop some dots into this mouth and call it good. Try to leave a brown outline. Not bad. Then following that, come in with some Barren Dune. Just lightly sketch the toothy details on top of the tusk. Try to pick out the kind of front facing of these small dots. Just adding a shine of a tooth will be telling enough. And I'll finish that off with just a tiny slash of white, keeping that under control the best that I can. It's like painting someone's thumbnail. Let's have a look at that cranial socket. Coming back in with Imperial Navy, just giving myself a little more room to work. I want to widen that up. Can always adjust. Then I'll lay in just a tiny slash of Moonbeam yellow. Neat. Now I'm coming in with some Arctic gem. Of course, there's always a little bit of water involved, and it's very crucial at this color. This can be, at this stage, with this color, it can be a little bit of an abrupt jump. So I will slowly layer my way to success. Just little diluted pads of paint. I want to start picking out that bone structure in just a smaller way, making it all face forward. Just very lightly tracing everything into place. Now that's good. On the eyebrow, don't overwork that. You can come back to that. I'll add more layers. See, that's the thing, is being comfortable with looking at this kind of semi-transparent, almost sandy layer. Through many of those thin sandy layers that your smoothness is created. So things are gradually built. Let's paint some crow's feet into place. You see now that I'm coming in with a second pass, that sandy progression starts to give way to a more saturated topping, creating the gradient, making things more smooth. Now it is a bad moon as well, so nothing wrong with a little bit of furrow to the brow, maybe adding some bumps here and there. I like these chin bumps, creating the appearance of some warts or just, you know, more rumpled skin. His face is contorted in moon-like anger. I don't know. He's a bad moon. Coming in for the third pass with that Arctic gem, piling things up, and now you can really see a nice escalation in those details highlighted. Pull forward on the brow again. It's getting a little bit messy. Let's mix Arctic gem, royal blue together. Sort of smooth things out. Calm it down. Yeah, that looks nice with the, this will help to create an outline. So if I take that royal blue Arctic gem mixture, just run it around the outer or bottom edge of this crescent, that'll frame things up nicely. And also, that same color, pull out a little bit more of the lip. Yeah, that'll be pushed out by the tusk. Maybe just a little touch here, creating a little gauntness. You know, the cheekbone falls down into this crevice that lines up with the tooth. Then facial structure would come out again where the jaw is attached, but not to the same level of intensity. Okay, just a little bit of white added to that Moonbeam yellow. Finish up the eye. And I've also brightened up that Arctic gem by adding a little bit of white once again. Go in and just cap everything off. And just like the previous stage, I want to make sure everything is nice and saturated. Because I'm using such peckish amounts and in, you know, to a more diluted end, it's going to look bright when I first lay it down, but acrylics will desaturate as they dry. Overnight, they have a longer drying time. There's kind of a 24-hour cooling off period. So I want to make sure that I go in and add some safety layers in a sense. Optimal saturation. The last detail this bad moon needs is that whippy tongue. So I'm going to come in oh so carefully with Blanched berry. Oh boy. It's alright if it gets a little wide at the bottom. And it must be a forked tongue. Just pull a little line. I want this to be somewhat wide. I know, don't laugh. Because I need to be able to trace inside of it. Because I need it to trace inside of it just a little bit. Next, I'll drop in with Angelic red. Just kind of raising this wider area, create kind of a hump. Let's see if I can fit any in this little whip. Okay, just a little bit of dimension, sure. Then adding a little bit of white into that Angelic red. Highlight that bend in the tongue. And a little whips too. Oh God. Okay. It's a slippery slope when a guy starts to talk like an orc. And it's an even more slippery slope when he's surrounded by an army of these individuals. Caught up in the wog. Curse this pale flesh, I'll only ever be a digger at best. But what I fail to do as a human, I can recreate on canvases of pewter. I hope you enjoyed this video on Nazdreg's banner, and it can be applied to many, many banners and creating your own designs, but I do love orcs, so a meaningful topic. Please let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. I'm always happy to hear from you. Believe that. And until the next time we meet again, my friends, remain unchained.